Let's do this. Nerd Soul. Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that Street Geek and Nerd Soul. What is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, we're about to get into another wonderful episode of movie reviews, and this is a good one. Let's get going. The Accountant. Now, I had a lot of fun during this. Look, before we even get started, this is a spoiler movie review. It's out on home video. I assume that you can stream it or see it on HBO Go or something like that. So we're going to be getting into the movie. I'm just going to be going over some of the things that I loved because I had a good time. And since they're talking about a sequel, I'm definitely up for this. So first is this crazy tense opening with you got this seemingly broad daylight attack of some dude just stabbing people. He runs up in this building. He's shooting folks. We're following a guy who's following someone else, and just the sounds of people getting shot, dying upstairs. The guy that we're following, he's scared, he's tense. We don't really know what's going on. And of course, that's when we flash to a child. And the child that we're flashing to, of course, we all know is Ben Affleck's character. And I believe he has autism or Asperger's, and he's kind of like always moving, he's always in motion, and he's putting together a puzzle that we see. But at the end of that puzzle, the cool thing that I liked about it is that, he put this puzzle together on the side with no picture. And I thought that was just crazy, just crazy intuitive how he was able to put those and match those pieces with no kind of visual guide, I guess you could say. But it just built his character and how this guy is able to put puzzles together, put pieces together to be extremely analytical. And then we leave that moment to flash to the future. There's a lot of flashing in this. We flash to the future where he's become this good man that's so good, he even helps people out, I guess, sort of. Maybe for his personal gain, but he helps people out with their taxes, helps businesses stay, solvent and stuff, and, helping them stay afloat and, kind of helping them maybe cheat a little bit on their taxes, but cheat in a legal way. And I think it goes a long way to establishing that, he's about, doing what's right. This guy might be involved with some nefarious characters, but he's about doing what's right. He cares about the little guy. He cares about the everyday working blue collar man. Even though this dude is making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, he still cares about, the day-to-day grind. And it's interesting to see him on his side and this young agent called Mary Beth, Agent Medina, who's going to become an agent, I guess we already know, and the situation she's in, where she's unknowingly being groomed, but kind of being forced into, how should we say, kind of investigating this man that he's never, she's never even heard about. And that, of course, J.K. Simmons' character is kind of pushing her to do. And I think something that's cool about this is him grooming her, figuring out that she's the right type of person to carry on his office because of the great tips that they do get. And those tips that they get are from the young lady that, of course, Ben Affleck's character meets as a young child. But we get a deep story of this guy who's sort of working for bad people, but yet taking that information and giving it to the FBI so that they can then track them or catch them. Or it's very interesting, the web that he's woven for this. And even with the flashes for his jail time, it reinforces how sort of non-violent but violent he is. He's not, I wouldn't say he's particularly a violent person, but he can be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And the main crux of this with the whole life robotics is what ends up getting a lot of people killed and a lot of people hurt. And it ends up putting him in a position where he has to run more than he ever thought he would. And, they bring him in like they always do, figuring like we're just going to dispel this rumor of any type of money or anything going on. And, there's nothing missing. And of course, this guy is extremely thorough. In one night, dude goes through all of their financials. He's writing on the walls. Dude is like the Rain Man of accounting. And it's super sweet because I love how they establish how smart he is, how good he is at his job, and just how controlled he is. Even with the scene where he's dealing with his kind of sensory attack, they really establish who he is before he, even puts his hands on anybody. But before we get to the part where he does put his hands on somebody, let me remind you, you can find me on Black Hollywood Live. That's right, the first online network for African Americans. Find them online at Black Hollywood Live, where there's celebrity interviews, after shows, sports talk, geek, nerd, tech, and all that. The whole shebang mo. Every single day with daily uploads, streaming, and going live on youtube.com/Black Hollywood Live. So I know you guys are thinking this movie is long, this movie's kind of slow, because the movie moves at a very poised and intentional pace, but it's not specifically slow. You know what I'm saying? Even when he meets Dana, who is the one who kind of saw this money issue, he kind of slows down and shows him kind of being open to her in a way. At first, he's kind of annoyed, but it is interesting to see him draw closer to her because he does see her as a kindred spirit, and sort of. And, with the calls and the information from the woman on the phone that we don't know, and, between that and him growing closer to her and then not being able to finish because, of course, the information that he finds out gets one of the people that work at Life Robotics killed. And when he gets killed, the owner of Life Robotics comes in like, nah, bro, you gotta go. This is over. I'm distraught. You done hurt my feelings. You done hurt everybody. Even though he's under and behind the whole thing, man, dude, you wrong. Yo, you mad wrong. You should be ashamed of yourself for stealing money, then hiding money, then putting the money back, and then getting people killed for it. You should be ashamed of your own self. But he's got a God complex, and we will get to that. But during this, we find a lot of his younger training and a lot of his younger life with his brother, who is kind of been in the background during this, but he's been around. And it's interesting how they slowly build that character and their brotherhood, that kind of the life that they shared under their father, who was very hard on both of them. He forced them to train in a way that, most fathers probably wouldn't push them that far. He forced them to fight other kids. He did that to make them tough, you know what I'm saying? But I do think maybe he was, maybe he went a little bit over. But it's cool that they at least stayed strong enough together to, work together as a team, at least at that age. And with those flashes that we get to learn so much about just how this kid became the man he is today. And I gotta give props to the movie for spending that time, because when you're watching it, you're like, yo, man, this movie is kind of getting long in the tooth. And to a certain degree, it kind of does, but then they fix it at the end. And the cool thing about the end is, we finally figure out that it's, of course, the CEO, the guy who owns the company, he's running it. He's the guy behind stealing this money, putting it back, and also killing all of his coworkers and colleagues. So he, of course, hires this man that we know, well, we don't know yet, but it's, of course, Ben Affleck's brother. They end up, attacking each other, falling out, and there is so much in that sequence of him storming the home, sniping people, fighting hand to hand, like that house scene makes up for everything that we learned. Because until Dana gets attacked to be, of course, killed as well, we really don't see Ben Affleck in action. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that's really cool, because this movie could have hung its hat on fighting the whole time. And there's movies that do, and they do it well. But this movie, it really established a character who was controlled yet troubled, but also very reserved, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't want to hurt people, but he knows that this is something that I got to do because this is the world that I'm in. And, he protects Dana, and you can see that he has like a thing for her, but he just, maybe, he can't put his mat down just yet. So, he keeps her safe after a crazy cool hallway scene where dude just rolls up and just starts hitting people. Like, he don't even waste no time. He just walks up, bing, bam, boom, you're done. And the one thing that I love about his character is that he confirms the kill. And I'm pretty sure you're probably thinking, what do you mean confirms the kill? Look, there's many times where we think someone's dead, and then they come back in the end, they try to punch you in your head or stab you or something. This dude, he'll not only shoot you, but then he'll look again and be like, all right, pop, just real quick, just to make sure that, you super dead. Like, we ain't having no people popping up in the end of this movie. But with all of that together, I was about to go low on this score, because for a while this movie was getting long in the tooth. It was feeling slow and feeling plotting for a certain period of time. But the way this movie ended and the things that were revealed between the FBI, between Ben Affleck's character, between the other young lady that he met when he was younger, this movie is straight up 5 stars, yo. This joint is on point. I really enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the way they raised the kid and the way they showed him come up and the way they showed how he dealt with his mother's death, the situation between the FBI and the information that they learned and how they justify it, which, in all honesty, it's no different than having an informant, you know what I'm saying? So there's informants that are on the other side of the law that, help law enforcement all the time, so why not? But there is so much to get in this, and there is so much to learn about his character and just the way he conducts himself. This is a movie that I think you'll like. If you're an action fan like me, this movie is definitely for you. It does seem kind of long, but it pays off. So guys, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you down in them comments. What did you think about The Accountant? Are you kind of hyped that they're coming with a sequel? I'm interested to see where his life leads now. Especially that him and his brother are, how should we say, reconnected. So before I bounce, let me remind you to hit up ThatNERDSoul.com. That's right. You can check all my videos out right there, from the oldest, the newest, the latest, greatest, and all that. Then hit up shop.ThatNERDSoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player. And don't forget one for them playettes. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. That's right. There's no better way that I can show people that you like what you are watching. And my shout outs are always going to LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please, man, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And keep your books straight. All right? Keep your books clean. You don't want the accountant to come after you. Don't skim off the top. I'm just trying to help you. You heard. Peace.